Can you kind of take a couple minutes and walk us through the entire process? I know you said Felix called you. You said yes. You signed the NDA. You kind of went through the process of that. But then what happened from there? The day of, talking to family, preparation, concerns, fears. Walk us through a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. First off, when you say like I'm the only person who's done it, this is true. Travis Pastrana jumped out without a parachute, but clipped into somebody. You know, they've all landed with the parachute. This was the first time doing it without a parachute, without anything, and coming all the way to the net. And I think that what that shows that nobody has attempted it. It's interesting because from my skydiver friends, my peers, I would say my equals in skydiving, the respect that you get, and like some people say it's crazy, it's stupid, why would you do it? But to a person, every single person's come back to me saying that moment that you step out and that commitment and the self-confidence to be able to make something like that happen is something that just doesn't come along. And I think that doing it once, I'm done. You know, I did it one time, that's good. And I think people really realized how serious that was. But going back to, I get the call, hey, can you do this? How can we do it? They had an idea of a giant slide, landing on a giant half pipe in like the Grand Canyon, sliding it out. Theoretically, that makes sense to me. You match the wall with your body and you come down, you touch the wall and you slide out like a big skateboard ramp. I just couldn't figure out, how can you test that? Can you drop something in that net and make it swoop out? Again, I got a wife and a son, and I want to be here to talk about it. You know, I wanted to see, is there a way I could do this where it's not the flip of a coin? I really worked hard to make sure that, yes, I'm the crazy guy that jumped out of a plane without a parachute, but I also wanted to show that you could do something that seems impossible if you go about it the right way. We made baby steps. So came up with the netting idea to land in a giant, almost like a circus net, really strong netting. Then to slow it down, we used air cylinders, big pistons. So when you hit the net, it compressed the air and it pulled it out. There was talk of bungee cords and all different kinds of things, but the only thing I could picture is Wile E. Coyote hitting a net and shooting back up into space. So we end up with this air system in this net, and then we want to know, hey, can this work? You know, like I want to see, is this even possible? So we built a half-scale model in a friend's yard, Jim Churchman, the stunt coordinator down in California. We started dropping punching bags filled with weights into this net and measuring the G-forces. And we start to figure out, wow, we can actually do this. So then we built a full-scale one, a 100 feet by 100 feet. We took it out in the middle of the desert. We took a helicopter. Aaron Fitzgerald flies this dummy up. We called it a dummy. It was this weight that matched my weight and the same drag. And we started dropping it in the net from lower and lower. My wife and son come out to watch, and we're measuring the G-forces, and they come out to check it out. The very first drop, they take this thing up in the air and they drop it. It cuts through the net like butter and smashes into the ground right in front of my wife and son. Camera crews are all filmed documentary. They all turn to my wife right away. And my wife has a big smile on her face. And they're like, oh, Luke, you know, what's going on? This is over. We haven't even gotten started. They all think it's over. And my wife looked at me and the cameras and she said, well, I think it's great because now it's not happening. You know, we're not doing this thing. So for her, it was
she really didn't want it to happen.
It wasn't so much she didn't want it to happen. It was just she understands the reality of how dangerous this is.
Yeah.
So when that didn't work, she knows I'm not going to do it if that's how it works. So in her mind, okay, this is done. We're not doing this thing. We're going to collect a little paycheck and hang out, and that's that. And then as the testing started coming along, and we fixed the netting, we fixed the problem with how it ended up going through the net. We'll get everything sorted out, and then it all starts to hit home. It starts to get real that, you know, we're doing this, you know, and that's when my wife and I had to have some real talks about the possibilities that could come from this. You know, we went into this with our eyes open. We definitely were not, everything's rosy and there's no way anything bad can happen. I think that the guys that go into big stunts like this with that attitude where nothing can happen to me, I think that they're naive and irresponsible. You know, we are taking a risk when you step off and do something like that. Now I've stacked the deck in my favor. We've calculated it. It's calculated risk. It's not flip of a coin, fingers crossed, maybe it'll work. It was very dialed in that we were certain it was going to work. I just had to do my job and hit that net that day. And, you know, we had those long talks with the wife. It was a real deal.